Okay, so we have another battle video here. It's the Apple iPhone 14 Pro versus the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. Let's go ahead and jump in. First things first, this is not going to be an Apple to Apple comparison. Yeah, pun intended there. But anyway, so this is an Apple phone. It plays in its own category. And this is an Android phone made by Samsung that also plays in its own category. You know, just from the get-go, these are pretty different devices, not only because they're made by different manufacturers, but simply in terms of some of the accessories that they come with. We have the S Pen with the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra here. You can already tell that this is geared towards productivity. Now, the iPhone 14 Pro, don't get me wrong, is also geared towards productivity, except the operating system doesn't seem to allow this thing to really unleash itself, right? It's a very powerful device. You know, the chipset that you have here, the A16 Bionic chip, is way more powerful than the, you know, Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 that you have loaded on the S22 Ultra here. But yet, with the S22 Ultra, you know, based off of my testing, along with the general consensus in the tech community, is that you are way more productive with the S22 Ultra than you are with an iPhone 14 Pro. Some of you may be wondering, like, how is that even possible? Because the iPhone 14 Pro, as you said, is a lot more powerful than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 that you have here. Like, how is it possible that you're more, you know, productive with this? Well, it's pretty simple. This is kind of an open world type of device, right? You can use this and be as creative as you want to be. If you feel you need to do something in order to be productive, this thing will allow to, you know, for you to be able to do just that. On the other hand, this platform is a lot more restrictive than this one, right? So on top of that, you also have this additional accessory that make things a lot more comfortable to use, a lot more comfortable to do on this phone here. And I don't want you to look at this as, you know, which one is better, because again, it's not an apple to apple comparison. All right, I want to go ahead and give a major shout out to ErGear for sponsoring this video. The ErGear product that I have here is their newest adjustable standing desk in vintage brown. I believe there's also a natural and a black color if you want to go ahead and grab those instead. Anyway, many of you know that on this channel, we tend to focus on value, right? More than anything else. With that being said, of course, let me tell you that this ErGear high quality adjustable standing desk does offer just fantastic value while remaining budget friendly, which is of course what we're always looking for. I will have the link in the description if you want to go ahead and grab one. But anyway, it's a very large and robust desk with great level of stability, and you get all of that from the solid steel frame along with that very stable leg bases that you have there. Most of you know that I'm kind of a big guy. I stand at about 6'4", right? And the height of this desk here can be adjusted all the way up to fit just perfectly for someone my height. Now, given that it can go from a bit over 28 inches all the way to about 46 inches in height, it should be adjustable to fit just about anyone. It does have a pretty powerful lifting performance and can sustain a max weight capacity of 176 pounds, which is just awesome because, of course, as you can see here, my monitor, well, the monitor that I have here is kind of a big boy, and it does handle that without any issues. I have zero wobble when pulling it up or dropping it at a lower height. Now, lastly here, there are some pretty cool features worth mentioning, like this quick custom height settings that you have here where you can quickly go from one height to another with just a single press, and also the smart anti-collision system where as the height of the desk is being adjusted, if it encounters some type of obstacle, it will rebound in order to avoid any damage on the desk itself. I can definitely tell you that this has become my main working station. Again, I do appreciate ErGear for sponsoring this video here. All right, now back to the video. So there's no true, you know, which one is best, right? Or which one is the better phone here. Contrary to what some people may want you to believe, some people may want you to believe, well, the iPhone 14 Pro is better than the S22 Ultra, or the S22 Ultra is better than the iPhone 14 Pro. I think it all comes down to what you need. What are you looking for in a phone? Now, I've been making videos for a little while now, and I always tell people it's not about which one is best. It's about which one is best for you. What are you looking for, right? For someone who barely uses or who barely does anything, you know, that gears towards high level of productivity, this phone would be almost, useless. Not useless, but all of the extra really good features that you have here would be obsolete because they would never use that, right? Whereas, someone who's just looking for something where they're going to be editing maybe on their phone, right? They're editing videos and they need something that's going to be rendering those videos at crazy high speed. This phone will beat this one, by miles, right? Rendering videos. Whereas here, on the other hand, if you're trying to be, very productive by multitasking, doing different things at the same time, this is the one to go for, right? If you need to take down notes, this is the one to go for. So if you're watching this video because you're in the market for either one of these two, it's gonna come down to a lot of very fundamental things, right? In order to help you make that decision. What ecosystem are you currently in, right? So if you already own like a MacBook, yeah, you may want to consider something else that's made by Apple, right? Something that's going to sync and, play well with the other devices that you already have. But you have a PC, then you should be maybe considering this guy. It will work. This one would work with a PC as well, but you should be thinking about finding a way that makes everything kind of uniform if you can, right? Or forget that. Let's say you don't own a device made by either one of these manufacturers. What are you looking for? Are you trying to be able to do a lot of things at the same time? Multitasking, split, different windows, all of that good stuff. That's the one. The S22 Ultra is the phone to go for. If you're just looking for raw power, it'll be this guy. Now, let's go ahead and switch gears a little. Let's talk about cameras. If you're looking for something that is just very good with videos, then maybe you should consider the iPhone 14 Pro. If you're looking for something that is top notch with just pictures, with stills, like you're going to be posting on social media, then maybe you should consider this guy, right? It offers picture quality that are a bit more saturated, right? Things that look very good when you just look at, from, with the naked eye. Whereas the iPhone 14 Pro will get you stuff closer to natural, more of a natural look, as opposed to the kind of a slightly enhanced look to make it look better. Now, that doesn't mean that this is terrible at pictures and very good at videos, and this is terrible at videos and very good at pictures. They are both fantastic devices at both, right? So it would also come down to your own preference. I know people who post on social media all the time, they live and die by Samsung because of that that tiny level of saturation when compared to the iPhone or Apple devices. Now let's quickly talk battery. On the S22 Ultra here, my battery life is top notch, and it offers a ton of different ways for you to manage battery and be able to, maintain the longevity of your battery. On the iPhone 14 Pro, good battery as well. But, this is not the Pro Max. This is the smaller one. Whereas here, pretty much have 5,000 milliamp hours. So it's a much larger battery. So in terms of battery, it's going to be subjective, but so far I'm finding that battery life on here is better than what I have on the iPhone 14 Pro here. Displays, okay. On the iPhone 14 Pro, you have a 2000 nits display here. Extremely bright, direct sunlight. You have no issues watching movies, reading, whatever the case is on the iPhone 14 Pro. Same deal here. You still won't really have, an issue reading or watching movies here, but this is a lot brighter than what you have on the S22 Ultra when you're outside and it's too bright, right? Here, you do have a fantastic display. The phone itself stands at 6.8 inches, whereas here you have 6.1. So do you prefer a larger phone or a larger display? I personally prefer the Super AMOLED display that we have on the S22 Ultra here versus the LTPO Super Retina display that we have here. Again, not because this is better, but simply because a combination of this display, a large display like this one, along with the way Samsung makes things a bit more saturated, it just look very, very nice here. HDR is just top notch on this guy. Now, quickly covering accessibility here. On the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra here, you have a USB Type-C port, which is, of course, kind of the standard, most common port that you would find out there. So in terms of just buying cables and things that, fit here without an adapter, you won't have any issues. So this should be compatible and it should play well with a variety of devices and accessories and cables and all that stuff out there. Whereas here, we still have the Apple proprietary lightning port, right? And transfer speed is slower on here than it is here. Again, to some of you, it will matter. Another thing to keep in mind here is that the S22 Ultra still has, or still takes, a physical SIM card, whereas the new iPhone 14 Pro does not, support physical SIM card. It supports eSIM, meaning you have to contact the carrier, rather. You have to contact your phone carrier in order to get your phone number transferred here. Whereas here, if you just want to switch phone numbers, this one is unlocked, by the way. You just grab the SIM card and stick it here. This is good for traveling. If you go different countries and you travel in different places and you're going to be spending like a couple of days at a time, depending on where you go, you can just easily, grab a SIM card wherever you go and just put it in and you're good to go. Whereas if you go with this one, then you have to pretty much abide by what the protocol is locally in order to get your phone transferred over to this one here. So to those of you who travel, that's something to keep in mind. Now, this video is not set to be a full review of either one of these and then compare them together. It's just me kind of going over kind of like the high level stuff that you should keep in mind if you're in the market considering buying either one of these, right? So main things to keep in mind that will help that decision making of yours. So I'm just gonna go ahead and stop at this point. If you wanna get a comprehensive take of the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra, that you could go ahead and watch my full review video on it, or if you want to do the same with the Apple iPhone 14 Pro here, I already made a review video on this guy here, so you can always check out that video as well if you want to get additional details on the iPhone 14 Pro. That's just my take when it comes down to the S22 Ultra versus the iPhone 14 Pro. I'm certainly hoping that this was informative. Let me know what any questions you may have in the comment section. Make sure to like, of course, subscribe, share the video if you know anyone who is interested or who is in the market for either one of these two. I will catch you. Like I said, make sure to subscribe. I'm pretty sure I just said that. Make sure to subscribe. I'm going to catch you in the next video. Up until that next video, of course, as always, stay safe out there.